Today marks 60 years since the U.S. Surgeon General released the first report on the dangers of smoking. Earlier, I had a chance to speak with Yolanda Richardson, the CEO of Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, to talk about the progress that's been made, as well as the new challenges children face, particularly when it comes to e-cigarettes. Here's that full interview. First, can you tell us about what kind of progress this country has made in reducing smoking and tobacco use since the 60s? I mean, I kind of stopped and thought about it in preparation for this interview. It's hard to believe it's only been 60 years that we knew there were negative health effects.
Well, I think it's a real public health success story. This country's efforts that it's made in order to reduce tobacco consumption. 60 years ago, when the first Surgeon General's report, as you indicated, was released, we had a completely different context for not only our understanding about the health risk of smoking, but also about public perceptions of smoking. So much progress has happened, and I think tomorrow's anniversary represents a real opportunity to celebrate all that progress. So a couple of data points that would be of interest. The first is that 73% less Americans smoke since the Surgeon General's report was in fact released. 90% of kids smoke less. And we are at a really important point with respect to smoking with kids. Less than 2% of high school students smoke. So we were really close. That's been upended a little bit, that progress, by new challenges that are presented, including challenges around e-cigarette use. But that should not mar the incredible public health success that this report in fact was responsible for ensuring. And so we're really excited to be able to take this pause to just have that celebration.
Yeah, let's go ahead and elaborate on that, because there have been such great strides in protecting the health of children. You mentioned fewer children are smoking cigarettes, but that new challenge, vapes. Is there a push? Is there a conscious effort to start preventing that as well?
Yeah, I think the administration shouldn't waited too long to really address this issue. So we, in effect, had an e-cigarette epidemic among young people that could have been avoided because most of the products that are on the market illegally. And so FDA and the other regulatory agencies within the administration should have removed these products from the market as soon as they came onto the market. And so that was a missed opportunity. And so what happened, in effect, is that young people, thinking that it was cool or new or different, began to vape. And so now we're trying to continue to reduce those consumption rates as well. And we're making progress, but it was an epidemic that did not need to happen. So that is unfortunate. But we'll continue to be vigilant, because the tobacco industry will be vigilant in trying to continue to find new products, new markets to addict a future generation of kids. And we are committed to making sure that does not happen.
We know you certainly are. Well, we certainly want to celebrate the successes. Also want to mention, despite the strides, tobacco use still kills nearly 500,000 Americans each year. It's the #1 cause of preventable death. What is something we can do right now to combat that?
Well, I think there are a couple of opportunities as the public. One is to really continue to demand that the White House pass two important pending rules. One of those rules is to ban menthol, which is the remaining flavor on the market. When the Tobacco Control Act was passed in 2009, it was the only flavored product that was exempted. And so the rule is ready to be released. And so calls to the White House and to Congress people would be really timely to get that rule out the door, because it's been delayed and the White House has missed its own deadline with respect to that. There's another rule that's very close to release, and that is the cigarette rule banning flavored cigars. And so that rule could be released immediately as well. All of the work has been done on that. So those are the two top of mind things that I think a public demand and concern should be raised against. And then the last one is the one I was describing to you about, really calling on the FDA to enforce its own regulatory authority in removing products from the market, e-cigarette products from the market that are on the market illegally. Those three things would make an immense difference to continue the progress we've already seen in terms of tobacco and also consumption of other tobacco products. So we'd like to emphasize that this is an opportunity for people to have their voice to be heard in demanding that these actions be taken.
Yolanda, I do want to ask you and acknowledge people on the other side of this argument. If you have adults who say, I've been smoking menthol for years or decades, so, I like my flavored cigars. They make the argument, this is my choice. Just like somebody can go in and they can buy alcohol. Nobody's forcing this on me. What do you say to those people when you advocate for it not even being an option or being available in stores?
Well, it's hard to say that you have a choice of an addictive product, right? Many people start to smoke cigarettes when they're young, as in school, and so that means that they aren't really making choices. And then once they've started, they're addicted, so they can't choose not to smoke. Smoking is incredibly difficult to do, and it's particularly difficult to do if you smoke menthol cigarettes. So I don't think I wouldn't equate an addictive product with choice at all, because as I said, the decisions are often made well before people are adults, and then you have a lifetime of addiction and it's just hard to quit. We also know that 70% of people who smoke cigarettes want to quit. And so we need to do more to support them and to help them to be able to quit. So I just think it's an inaccurate thing to say that are many people who are advocating for please let me have my cigarettes, because most people want to quit and just are having a difficult time of doing so.
Yeah, so more of the mindset of doing them a favor, removing one of the barriers that make it so difficult to quit. Last question for you. We know that Big Tobacco was accused of predatory marketing to Black communities. What is being done to right some of those wrongs?
Well, we have to just remember to call it all out. I think menthol cigarettes have been delayed in terms of being regulated for now 14 years since the act was passed. And what they've done has been incredibly pernicious. They've, been able to bring on allies who are in the Black community to sow the misinformation. And that's problematic. And we need to call out not only the tobacco industry, but those who are using tobacco industry arguments under the guise of choice or under the guise of concerns of over-policing. There are any number of ways that they've sown misinformation. And then we need to get this menthol ban done. Because as long as it's out there, the tobacco industry will continue to fight to have those products on the market. And even if the rule is passed, we know that the industry will probably sue to continue to delay those products being taken from the market. So we have a formidable foe in the industry, and we in the Public Health Committee are united. We in the Civil Rights Committee are united that these products need to be taken off the market and out of Black communities. And so it's important to continue to call that out, and I thank you for the opportunity to do so.
Yolanda Richardson, President and CEO of the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. We thank you, your knowledge, your passion on this subject, so abundantly clear. We really appreciate your insight.
Thank you so much for having me.